Hi, this is Mahesh Varadharajan working as an Agile consultant at Solutions IQ here in Chennai. We just got done with Agile Coffee Talk. We had around 40 participants from product and service companies, very enthusiastic professionals. So this is the first time we hosted this event in Chennai and it's been a real successful one. And now we have Mr. Vijayanand Tirumalai, Director Software Development at SolarWinds, here with us today to talk about how did he feel about this event and his experience on the Agile Transformation working across companies in Asia, Europe, and US. Vijay also brings with him 22 years of experience working across Fortune 500 companies such as GE and Siemens. Now, I'm now going to ask Vijay to share his experience and what did he feel about the Agile Coffee Talk in Chennai today. Over to you, Vijay.
Thanks, man. Thanks for inviting us to this interesting concept for the first time in Chennai. One of the first things that I felt was that this was something that is a great platform for discussions or on dissemination of ideas for Agile. There's a lot of commoditization that has happened in Agile, and I think the key thing here is we are able to bring in people from the industry to have share their experiences and actually talk through how they want to solve the problems that they are seeing on a day-to-day basis. So I think this concept is really, really good, and thanks for bringing this to Chennai. I think I hope that we have more of these as we kind of go along.
So you bring with you experience not just working here in India, but also you have seen the transformations abroad. Do you see any differences in the Agile adoption or any culture of that sort?
Yeah, absolutely. The basic thing that you will always see is it goes with the fact that there are cultural differences for teams that are working across the world. I mean, every country, everywhere that you go, I mean, they have their own culture and the mindset that they work with. And so what you tend to see is that seeps into how you kind of work and adopt any new concept that comes through or any change that you are working through. Some of the differences that you tend to notice is that when you talk about Agile, you talk about self-organizing teams, and the classic challenge that you run into is when you have a slightly more regimented mindsets that you see in the Europe versus a more directed mindset that you see in Asia versus more individualistic mindset that you see more in the Americas. You tend to see that difference play out in how the teams get organized. And so you got to always be careful and cognizant about the fact that you have to manage through all of these as you're adopting Agile as you work through.
So in your work experience, what do you think are some of the critical success factors on a large scale transformation?
So if when you see people talk about Agile and adopting Agile, people do tend to have started talking more and more about the mindset that has to shift. And that is actually absolutely the right thing that they have to do. One of the challenges that you really run into is people don't understand what does it actually mean that there's a mindset shift that you need. And I think spending more time helping drive that mindset shift is probably one of the biggest success factors I would think is for Agile adoption. Along with that, you have to make sure that, and this Agile mindset shift is not just something that happens at the developer or a tester level for that matter, but it actually has to happen across the organization. And that's something that is absolutely critical for success for Agile adoption. Of course, it sounds like a mom and apple pie statement, but that is actually one of the most crucial aspects of this. Apart from that, there are some other fundamentals for actually executing Agile well. The key there is making sure that you have the right kind of automation and continuous integration and best practices like those built in. Otherwise, what you tend to see is that the efficiencies of the teams get impacted, and people tend to attribute that as a failure of Agile itself rather than having the right best practices in the team. So I would think these are a couple of things that I would keep in mind as we are adopting Agile.
Yeah. Well, so you have also seen some distributed teams in Agile. How different are they with regards to co-located teams, and what could be one or two techniques or tips for distributed teams to be really successful?
Right. I think one of the presenters today talked about the fact that we're not going to change certain realities, which is things like culture and the time zone difference and things like those. And he was absolutely right. You can't change that. You can't change the time zones as teams work across different locations. But what is most important there is acknowledging the fact and accepting the fact that you need to work across these challenges that you run into, and be positive in how you are working through with the teams across different locations. So one of the things that I have tried to do is, if you're on a TCon or a VCon for that matter, you basically give priority to the people who are remote when they actually have a conversation or have something to say. And the more video conferences you have, that's definitely better than having just the TCon, because you actually can see the body language, you can relate to the people and things like those. So I think that's something that is very crucial in that. The second thing is you have to make sure that you are making sure that you are actually in contact and having the team in contact as often as possible to ensure that the team believes and works that they are one team. There are times it's very easy to ignore the people who are remote, and so you have to make sure that you are actually spending extra energy to ensure the teams are staying together. So I think these are the two key things in my mind that I see have been helpful in my teams as I've done Agile across different locations.
Thank you, Vijay. Thanks for your time and sharing your experience with large-scale Agile transformation. And that was Vijay, Director of SolarWinds, sharing us that mindset change is the most important of all things that we have seen to be really successful on Agile transformations. Thank you very much, and we are hoping to see you in more of our events in the future.
Thank you very much, man.
Thank you again.